Archers, attack! Keep firing! Let none escape! Another down! Do not relent!
Hey, it's me, Slidewhistle.
It's me, Immunization, aka Poor, apparently power level 10.
It's me, Farmer with a shotgun, power level 1. How insignificant. This planet is nothing.
Actually, the farmer's power level is 5, which I think is crazy.
Wow, his wife's gotta watch out. Bethany, don't you test me. My power level is 5.
I don't really know what this means, but if...
next, you'll get it later tonight.
But, like, if Piccolo Jr.'s power level is 322, I am just very confused about what something that's power level is over 9,000 is like in the scope of DBZ universe. Okay, don't you guys come for me,
and you
listeners.
Know what? You know what, Immune? You know what? You're confused now as someone who's just starting to watch DBZ. It'll never make sense.
Okay, yes, listeners, to clarify, Slide and I are watching the Dragon Ball series from the very beginning for the first time for me. They've both seen it, but I have never seen anything somehow. Shocking, I know, because all my friends growing up watched all of it, but...
Shocking! Spocking!
So we just finished the original Dragon Ball and are just now starting Dragon Ball Z.
I'm really hoping I can convince him to be one of the Ginyu Force for Halloween, because I've always wanted to be Raccoon, and this could be the year.
I don't know what that means, but like that's...
I called Jice.
He could be Ginyu.
I feel like Immune would be, well, yeah, he does have the body for Ginyu, but I also feel like he could be a good birder. I've seen him run up and down the stairs really quick before.
Okay, that's enough sidebar. Everyone's like, we don't watch no animus.
You know who should take some time to watch some anime and not be in charge of the company? Robert Kotck, CEO of Activision-Blizzard-King.
And I will also say, some of his actions as of late are very akin to people who are like the main antagonists within an anime. Like, what the fuck? He said he would step down if he is unable to fix problems at Activision Blizzard. And I'm like, first off, 1, you're the one that can make the changes at Activision Blizzard. 2, you're the one that judges whether or not, like, you've made changes. So, what the fuck?
It's a very King Piccolo move of him to be like, yeah, I'll fix this. If I say I can fix this, if I can't fix it, I won't fix it. It's like, what? Huh? What are you talking about? And it's just bullshit. What I think this is another step closer to him being like outed. I feel like this is like the 5 steps of like denial and acceptance. He's on step 2 right now.
So last week we said that both PlayStation and Xbox combined their forces, right? We mentioned that?
Yeah, we did.
And this week, did you boys see that now Nintendo, and I'm talking Mr. Bowser himself, stepped into the mix and said, listen, Activision Blizzard's moves and actions and what they currently stand for is the most un-Nintendo thing that we've ever seen.
Let me just say, he's just fucking lucky that Reggie Fils-Aimé is still not the head of Nintendo of America, because Reggie would have fucking kicked his ass. Bowser is holding back. He's refraining himself. And even this, that was a fucking... From Nintendo? Like, if Nintendo... you fucked up.
Douglas Bowser is a gentleman. Reginald Fils-Aimé, he would have had his head on a pike. That man did not mess around. He sat in an uncomfy chair for decades.
I miss Reggie.
He's doing an Xbox thing, and everyone's like, how could you? And he goes, I'm a businessman who does business. I'm sorry, I'm not at Nintendo anymore. It's like, come back, Reg.
Wasn't he a pizza man before this, too?
Yeah, he was the Pizza Hut CEO before he was Nintendo man.
It's just ridiculous. It really does feel like the house is burning down around him, on top of him, and I hope that's what happens, because it's just absurd. His board fucking sucks. I hate his board. We believe in what he's doing. How? How can you believe in that?
I feel like there are a few options here, and one of them literally is just them waiting until people stop talking about it, and then it doesn't matter, which is upsetting, but that's probably what I see happening.
So keep talking about it. These gaming companies are timing their fucking press releases. It seems kind of like that way. They're keeping it in the news cycle.
One last thing before we go. I just want to say, you guys did say Robert Kotck was like Piccolo. Do you feel like Fran Townsend is more of a tambourine or a tom-tom?
She's a piano, 100%. Piano up and down.
Oh my god. Okay, so I just want to say that Tambourine was a badass, and I don't think that Fran is a badass. I agree with Slide's analysis that Fran is more of a piano, literally to the fact that, like, I don't know, Piccolo just used piano however he needed, said, like, piano, make my press releases for me, and, you know, that's basically what happened.
Okay, but now that distinction has been made, what did Wowhead do with their reporting?
So, like, the reason about I even found the article is because Wowhead was like, well, I got a news alert about this on my phone from, like, MSNBC or whatever, and then I go to Wowhead, and I see they have the same thing, basically. And you know how they have to have images attached to their Wowhead reporting? Like, look at this image. For the image of Bobby Kotck will consider stepping down, they just, like, somebody slapped together, like, an image of, like, an empty executive chair with, like, a CEO placard in front of it. I'll post it in the Discord for you. It just looks so fucking goofy.
It does look really silly.
There you go, Aaron. There it is. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, why? You could have included a picture of Bobby Kotck. Why? Why does it have this stock image? You can see the Getty watermark in the corner.
It's just so funny. I'm just glad that my audio isn't being paused because their podcast is playing in the corner. I'm glad that got through to you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I just use better images so I don't laugh when I'm reading an article that should not make me laugh. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to take this conversation and go Kaioken times 10. Let's talk about some new datamine stuff.
Where do we want to start, boys? There's been a lot since last week, even.
I'm going to put a big old spoiler alert, even though if you're listening to this pod, you should already know that we will just talk about spoilers whenever we feel like it. But here's your official warning. Get the fuck out if you don't want to be spoiled, because we're just going to read datamine shit that will probably get changed. Except it won't get changed because it rarely does. Okay, so let's start with the big shit. Let's go into the fucking raid bosses for the Sepulcher. Sepulcher?
Oh, I can't weigh in because apparently I did it incorrectly, so just that word of the first ones.
I love how they've specifically chosen a word that no one in the world knows how to say. I'm convinced they don't even know how to say it. They probably just at some point opened a thesaurus and saw that it was a synonym for another word that they wanted. Anyways, we have 11 bosses here, right? 11? Yeah. And our first one up is the Solitary Guardian. Don't necessarily know that we have too much information about what this guy looks like, do we?
What he looks like? No. Okay, so the first guy we got is the Solitary Guardian. I'm not going to worry about his abilities too much unless, like, they matter. This is whatever. First boss. This Eternal Guardian lies in wait while its subsystems keep vigil over the entrance to the sepulcher of the first ones. So just, your typical robot guy, guard in the beginning, maybe Bran-esque, who knows?
Yeah, very much just, hello, I am guard at front of place. You cannot come in. Very Old Deer energy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, the guy who was guarding the elevator at Old Deer, right?
Basically. Or, like, what was the Guardian that we're facing currently?
Guardian of the first ones.
Yeah. It's like his cousin, you know.
And we don't have a picture of this guy, right?
No, we don't have pictures of anybody. Well,
I really hope it's not just the same thing.
I think
like it's
it
the
will
same
be.
model, but he uses like a big sword instead of a big mace.
Well, they were saying that there are like several models for the different like archetypes of these characters. So maybe this Guardian is a different archetype, even though he's considered a Guardian. I don't know. Whatever. Our second boss is, I'm just going to try to pronounce it as Dawsane, the Fallen Oracle.
This is where so we're beginning to get into weird territory with this. I know that they were all like, oh, this area, Zereth Mortis, so mystical. You can walk on water. You can see some floating rocks. And I'm like, yo, talk about how crazy some of these names are. Because I don't know how to say this. How'd you say it? You said...
Dawsane? I'm not sure.
For those listening at home, this is spelled Dausegene. Dawsegene. Like, what the fuck? Now, the Fallen Oracle actually has no description in the journal, which makes me think either A, an important character we're going to be questing with in 9.2, or B, they're like, I don't fucking know, push it out.
It looks like based on, yeah, it's weird. She has no dungeon journal thing, but she does have a thing for her boss fight.
I think I know who this is. So, further spoilers, but there are 3, I believe, cutscenes that have been data mined. Very rough. These are the types of cutscenes where there are, like, on Wowhead, but they're, like, huge red X's crossing over them. Half of them aren't voice acted. It's very rough. But in, I believe, the second one, the jailer and Anduin come through a portal into Zereth Mortis, and the one that Anduin has in a chokehold is she's speaking and she says, and it just says the Oracle. So I assume this is her, and maybe this is the guardian to all of Zereth Mortis that they have now dominated. Maybe.
Yes, and also because her fight text references domination magic a lot, and you'll need to like move around her mana because she'll go around and use mana fonts to recharge. But then if she completely runs out, she'll dominate all of the mana areas, and that'll be bad for everyone. So maybe she is like she's the main dominator.
That's kind of hot. I don't know.
It's very Guardian-esque. Moving on to our third boss is somebody who we all know and hate. It's fucking Artificer Zymox. Like, this fucker's back to steal more shit.
I'm just like, how'd this fucking dude get here? Is this basically a, like, look, this is the equivalent of how Tao was killed, and we're like, this is a cool bad guy, and then all of a sudden, in the last martial arts tournament, he's resurrected as an android. How is Artificer Zymox here in this raid?
My big thing is just, and I know we can have like fun boss fights and stuff, but this is the Sepulcher of the first ones, where we're eventually going to fight the jailer at literally the Tomb of Creation. Zymox is a little too much goofball energy for me. It's like, man, fuck it. This is serious shit. Get out of here.
The world's gonna end. So reading,
yeah, they're gonna blow up our planet. Like, stop wasting our time, Zymox. Get out of here.
And I like how in his mind he probably thinks the same thing. He's like, these fucking adventurers keep getting in my way when I try to find a new place to seal some important shit and learn some new information. These fuckers are always in my way.
Reading his journal is like reading a different fucking language. Zymox and his most loyal associates caught wind of the Forerunner's Relic, an ancient progenitor artifact set to unlock the key to weaponizing ephemera. Huh? What? What was half of those words?
Ephemera is just new anima, to my knowledge. It's like super duper anima. Which also, yeah, I'm looking at his text here, and it's like, at 80, 50, and 20%, he'll call in boys from Cartel Zai. It's like, can you guys stop? Can you stop doing your broker thing for just like one day? We're trying to save all of the world.
At least give us some saxophones and electric guitars so we can slide around the stage with while we fight
come
you.
on! We were all at at Ozma's Oasis. We know how this goes.
The funny thing is, though, that the brokers don't give a shit about Azeroth because, like, besides Solea, have any brokers actually been to Azeroth? I don't think so.
I think they care a whole lot about Azeroth, as we'll see later. Wink. Moving on to boss fight number 4. Also, number 4 is the prototype Pantheon, which is literally just 3D original prints of our 4 Covenant leaders.
Yeah, so this is described as a wing of the raid, where it's a wing of all of these different creations that are the throwaway prototypes of things that we see in the world as we know them now. So all of the creators in the first ones, this is their tool shop where they're like, oh yes, this is Winter Queen version 2.5, and then like the one that we know today is apparently like 10.7 or something like that.
It's like so meta. It's weird to see like this is like the literal forge of creation of how things are brought into this world from the beginning. And it's like they're just printed off this robot schematics. What?
They weren't meant for our world.
So I'm seeing here that as you're fighting them, if one reaches 50%, it pieces out, and the progenitor forge starts reconstructing them, and the other ones fight. So do we know, is it just the 4 that we know? Or are there other big characters who can hop in at like 50 and 30%?
I'm 95% sure it's just the 4 that we know. However, there's just so much text on this page because they each have unique abilities that I'm not going to read all of it.
Yeah, I assume it's a fight where there's 4 of them, but we have to bring them all down to 50% health at the same time or near the same time. One of those fights, like there was one in one of the Pandaren raids. I forget what it was called. There's a council fight there as well. That's very similar. But I'm going to go on record right now and just say that I think that Proto Archon looks cooler in a lot of ways than our current Archon.
Oh yeah, so there are models for these. If you haven't seen them yet, you can check them out. They're like weird, like, I don't want to say pixely. They're like, what's the word for this? I mean, like, they're very, you can tell that it's like...
It's very, like, simplistic. It's, like, 3D printed type. They all, assumedly I say all because the Primus has a big beard, so you can't see it. But they all have, like, a power core that's very obviously what they're built around. They're all yellow and blue, very, like, unpainted Warhammer figure looking.
Yeah, it's almost like they're just like a couple of like sockets and joints, and like there's no flesh over them yet. Like they haven't put any life.
Bionicle energy.
Yeah, big bionicle energy. Holy shit!
Literally big bionicle energies. You just need like one of those face pieces that you just slap on, and it makes that crunching sound when it first goes onto them.
Oh, now we're fucking talking, bitch. So then next up, so the bosses from here on are just kind of like weird name comma title. So then we have Lahuvim, principal architect, who just creates ephemera, which is proto-anima. So it very much reminds me of Ulduar, big green grass lady. What was her name? She sat in the middle of all those trees.
That was A&R, right?
I think it was one of A&R's babies. She was like she gave her power from A&R, I think. It was like a nature goddess. See, Ulduar, I didn't rate it. I could tell you Loki, his name.
Oh, is this the one where there's an entire forest that you have to fight off?
Yes. Or you pull it all and kill the trees and you just like one-shot them with one hit.
I mean, that's how we know it, right?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's, from what I see here, that's Freya.
Freya.
Oh yes, I said A&R originally. But yeah, that's Freya.
There's so many names, and like my brain has absorbed so many weird names now, like Lahuvamir, and I'm like, fuck. Okay, so wait, so how many bosses in... Okay, so it's at 8 bosses when we get to Anduin is when it's like, you're done raiding for the week, right?
Yeah, Anduin's the last one of the first, air quotes, a week, if you make it to him in that first week.
So yeah, so it's Lahuvam, Principal Architect. After that, it's Skolex, the Insatiable Ravener. We don't know anything about this guy other than abilities, which...
I assume, just once again, looking at its abilities, they're all like powerful hunger, deep consumption. I assume it's either a big fat thing that eats or it's a dog.
And then we go into Halindris, the Reclaimer, who was in some caves, and his purpose is to reclaim the ephemera that Lahuvim is making. Very fucking Nordic, very weird fantasy science.
I assume that once we make it to... What the fuck is the new area Sanctuary, right? Yeah, once we get to Sanctuary, they will explain to us what Ephemera is and what its importance is, because all of these bosses want it, destroy it, eat it, crave it, whatever. So, like, it seems to be a big deal here.
So then, after Hollandress, we go to Anduin, who is our big cap of the week for the first time, and there is a lot of shit happening in this Anduin fight. He's got a stage called King's Morn Hungers, which is very obviously a Frostmourne Hungers reference. I love the Lich King, Arthas, his intermission, Remnant of a Fallen King. Like, he just has so much Arthas shit. Do you think we're gonna get a legitimate, like, Arthas appearance in this fight at all, or is it just, like, fun renames?
I think I don't know. I feel like it's just renames. I feel like it'd be really weird for Arthas' soul to have floated all the way to Zereth Mortis. And also, it feels weird for the jailer to have specifically taken it. But then at the same time, I feel like we know they brought attention to the fact that his soul was tossed into the maw. So there's got to be some sort of payoff for that.
So I just want to say that, like, a lot of people who are more knowledgeable about both this fight, its descriptions, and raiding in Wrath of the Lich King against the Lich King have pointed out that a lot of his abilities mimic or straight up copies in some ways the fight that we had to face the Lich King back in the day. I mean, I don't know. I just, like, go in there and quickly wipe him up to try to get a drop, but, like, it's interesting to me that they would purposely make this fight similar.
Well, luckily, we've killed all of the Valkyr, or all of the winged women, in the previous raid, so hopefully they won't be there to pick us up and drop us over the edge.
One could only hope. But reading some of his abilities, yeah, like, he straight up has Death Knight abilities here. I guess his intermission is called March of the Damned, which is a Death Knight thing. The Remnant's domination over Anduin's soul links them, transferring damage taken to Anduin. Then he just has Remorseless Winter, which is a frost decay ability that Arthas, I'm pretty sure, used. Yeah, he just makes a storm around him. Soul Reaper and Army of the Dead. Those are all DK abilities.
Also, I just want to say, Aaron kind of called this. He has what I assume is a big ability called Befouled Barrier, which is basically the Disc Priest Barrier. It absorbs all healing done to people within the side of it.
Ooh, he's a Disc Priest, but he's an evil one.
Right? So basically, it sounds like we're all going to have to go in there, and all the healers are going to have to try to pump as many heals as they can, because if you don't absorb all of it, then it will explode and kill everyone.
I hate that. So the first week of raiding, you fight Anduin. If you make it there, that's it. You're done. There's 3 bosses after him who you get to see next week. I don't think a lot of people are going to make it that far. I mean, normal, I guess. A lot of people might. But after Anduin, we have the Lords of Dread, which is a dual Dreadlord fight consisting of Mal'Ganis and Contessa, who's the lady one.
Female Ganis.
Female Ganis. That's what I was fucking trying to locate in my brain. The lady one. Which is awesome. Wait, so what? We haven't fought Mal'Ganis in a while in a raid, right?
I mean, when even did we fight Mal'Ganis? He's just the secret boss of Calling of Strathholm, right? That's the only time we've seen him?
Yeah, that's when he's like, to the ends of the earth. I swear we fought him again, but maybe that's it. Because it's Varamathras and Legion who we fight, who goes, I'm being tortured. And do we have a Dreadlord fight after that one?
I don't know. Or we're all showing all of our balls on stream, but yeah. I don't know.
After all these fucking Dreadlords hunted me down in Torghast, I feel like I fought them every day of my goddamn life. Why are they the hardest things inside Torghast? They're harder than the end bosses sometimes.
They really are, though.
Okay, so I've looked, and you as the player fought him and killed him in Warcraft 3, and then he came back in alternate Calling of Strathholm, and that's it. He showed up in Legion as one of like the bad boys that crack their knuckles, but he didn't have a confirmed death. So I think he just came to the Shadowlands of his own volition. He flew their big spaceship there.
So when they said that this is a Dreadlord that we have unfinished business with, this is very much so true. It's been a minute here.
After Loads of Dread, we face Rygalon, who everyone's like, who the fuck is that? So if he's the second to last boss, so that means it's gonna be lit.
No, Rygalon, I think, is the one that they were showing where
it's alternate Algalon.
Yeah.
It's Algalon that got fucked up by jailer magic.
And he's the one who I think we've seen a picture of where it seems like there might be anima or something flowing behind him. So some people are thinking that at some point in these last three bosses, Rygalon is used to somehow start extracting maybe the sword, maybe anima from Azeroth itself. But basically, I think we're like moving into like big Azerothian type battles in these last three bosses.
And that's where this fucking conversation is going. Because obviously, the last fight is the jailer. There's not a lot of information here, except when we look at his abilities in a deeper dive. They literally had a separate datamine patch because they didn't leave anything in the raid journals for the jailer. It's all in a separate area because they really want to make sure people don't get spoiled. So if you are so invested in the story at this point, and for some reason you've hung on for the raid listens, I guess you probably should double leave, because this is the point where it seems like we're going home, right? Like we're going back to Azeroth for this fight, or we're at least watching it get fucking wrecked.
Yeah, because some of these Zovaal / the jailer abilities basically imply that I don't know exactly what the arena is that we're fighting him in, but like Azeroth itself as a planet or as a Titan, question mark, are named. So the jailer has an ability called Desolation, and it says Zovaal launches a volley of missiles at Azeroth, decreasing Azeroth's health by up to 20%. One of these missiles can be intercepted by each player, inflicting shadow damage.
So I will say before we go, when it says he's targeting Azeroth, it sounds like it's Azeroth, the big woman. However, I would absolutely love if we were standing by a portal from the Shadowlands to our world, and he just keeps shooting magic at, like, our planet. And it's like, oh no, that's going to land on a house in Daenerys. We got to intercept that.
I guess what makes you so sure that it's Azeroth the woman and not Azeroth the planet?
Because I feel like him targeting another big model is easier to grasp than like, I'm gonna shoot my lasers at the planet.
Now, I would like to ask you this question. In Legion, during the A&R fight, what were we supposed to target to keep track of her health pool?
The tree.
Because let me tell you, I couldn't fucking tell you. I blinked and she fucking died in a second because fucking guys right in there.
She was
out of fucking nowhere.
She was the big tree at the end of the
Who
tower
has
defense.
time to click on that tree when you're zooming around, Sora gliding through the air, trying to find where these next patches of mobs can spawn? For me, personally, I see the opposite. I see him targeting Azeroth, the planet, in a similar small scale way of like, here's a small thing that he's going to hit. Click on that, keep track of it, defend it.
I guess I will say this. I don't see the jailer, although I don't know, I could be wrong. I don't see the jailer getting big enough where his attacks are going to damage Azeroth, the planet.
And so either way, like, the same could be said for whether it's Azeroth the planet or Azeroth the Titan. What bullets that Zovaal is firing can do like 5 to 20% of like the planet / the Titan's health that me as a player character can like absorb?
Yeah, like Growlina's got a good fire shield, but if you throw a thing at her that's going to destroy all of Booty Bay, I don't think she can absorb it.
I think the opposite. As somebody who watched King Piccolo throw energy bursts into the crowd that Goku absorbed with his own body and lived, maybe we are the Gokus deep down inside we always thought we were.
Also, if that is the case, maybe it's a thing when you beat Rygolon, it's like, oh, I'll give you the anima ephemera super power up. So maybe the 30 of us are also super powered to take on Zovaal. I feel like that would make sense if it was like, we're all god tier now, so you can take his attacks that would destroy continents.
I think that's possible because a lot of the big mythic raiders are like, oh, we have to wait a week before we can do our progression because Blizzard wants to think of the story. And I'm like, I'm reading this, I'm sitting here thinking like, maybe something in that week, something humongous happens. Because during that week, we're going to cure Anduin from being dominated. He's going to have some kind of information / maybe power infusion for us. And then we fucking go, and then we're facing a fucking cosmic scale of a war like the next week. Because now we have more information on what the plans are. The jailer can be like, haha, Anduin's free. I'm going to get big now, like Piccolo. Yeah.
So basically, Anduin comes to us, and he's like, listen, y'all, I need you guys over this next week to construct a rice cooker. And then we need to go in there, and I will fire up an evil containment wave, and this will contain the jailer.
That's my favorite part of this season 3, is that every so often the references are just like, what? It's like, go watch episode 143 of Dragonball.
If the jailer just would have cast evil containment wave reverse, he would have won. Which, by the way, folks, was a real thing that happened.
I am ready for Zovaal to put his hands in the air and say, get ready for the dead zone. And then it's like, oh no, what are we going to do?
Don't take us there. But then we also have some phases that the jailer has. I'm sorry, I'm going to call him Zovaal. Zovaal's his God-given name. The jailer is the name that his brothers and sisters gave him when they threw him into the basement. His phase 1 is called Origin of Domination. Now you're like, okay, whatever. His intermission is called Machine of Origination. Need I remind you that in Uldum, we use the Forge of Origination to defeat N'Zoth by somehow only re-originating him due to recalibrating it. In the past, we have used the Forge of Origination to fight off the Thunder King, who wanted to invade Pandaria, because he wanted to take the Forge to reset the world to his liking. It's very possible this fight is happening near or in Uldum, or by the Forge that's up in Northrend.
That, or the jailer has corrupted Rygolon in order to create some kind of forge of his own. Because, like, you cannot convince me that, if there was a Forge of Origination on Azeroth, like, the first ones also have something similar up in their home base in the Sepulcher. So, like, I think, basically, Zovaal now has something during this fight where he's like, I'm a fire in my Forge of Origination at Azeroth right now. Or at the universe. I don't know. Beyond just Azeroth? I don't know.
The Elgalon Rygolon guys, they're the only ones that can activate it, right? Like, you need their spectral fingerprints to actually fire the thing.
I need a refresher on those, but if I remember correctly, Algalon was the person who pressed the button who said, hey, if you're up there, destroy everything. So he was like the key turner. Like they could still do it theoretically without him, but he still is a crucial part in re-originating a planet back to its original state.
We could get a real Watchmen moment where it's like, we killed Rygolon. You can't destroy the world now. It's like, well, I already started to. And then you have to fight him while the world is blowing up.
I think we're fucked. His phase 3 is called the Unmaking. Argus the Unmaker, anybody? Hello? Like, why it says this, but like also like, hello? Like, it's right there. And I'm like, this is a lot of like different pulls that are kind of coming together into one, and I'm very much worried about it.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider here.
We also need to consider the fact, okay, so if it is Azeroth the Titan, because don't forget, the whole reason we have any of this shit is because Sargeras wanted to and the old gods, they want Azeroth to either they want to kill her for being corrupted, or they want to corrupt her before she can be killed. There's a giant sword, as we all know and love, sitting inside Silithus. What if Azeroth, she hatched from her egg? I don't know how the fuck that happens, don't ask me that. And she pulls that motherfucking big-ass sword out of her, and she fucking cuts down the jailer with it, like big mech anime style. And like, this is what I needed this whole time.
It would deal with both the jailer and the big sword that is stuck in her.
Yeah, like, it's been in her this whole time, but she's still just somehow been able to be sleeping, because that's apparently how strong she is. It's just like, you know, in her elbow or something, stabbed her, but like, she was able to sleep through it. But then, like, we wake her up, we're like, Azzy, baby, wake up! The jailer, Zovaal, is coming for you! And she wakes up, and she's like, ooh, this little dagger, okay, I'm gonna, like, pull this out of my wound, and then just cut this little bee in half.
Be down. I think there's a lot of shit happening that's gonna come full circle that I hope, like, there's so many seeds that are just sowed out there. Use the sword.
I just need some kind of conclusion about what this sword is.
Now I'm wondering, if she uses the sword and she pulls it out, what about the wound? Is it just gonna turn into flat ground again? Is that a new thing? Like, well, we can go inside Azeroth now because of a big wound in her.
Maybe that's where the next dungeon's gonna be, the guts of Azeroth.
Ooh, you gotta go in and fight off her infections, Dr. Mario style.
Wahoo!
Champion! You gotta match two reds with a red and blues with a blue. Speaking of matches, let's go to Puyo Puyo Tetris Queen, Growlina-chan. Happy day after Turkey Day, my U.S. Proudmoore compatriots. I'm here today celebrating with Dorothy, a fellow lupine companion. Dorth, what dish was best received at your festivities? Well, I have to say the green bean casserole. I've certainly relegated most of my plate to it, LOL. I see. It must have been quite the casserole. What stats would you say this green bean loaf gave you and your party? Well, certainly a fair bit of stamina, and it definitely gave me a well-fed bonus. But I must say, it has lowered my overall speed, and gave me an hour-long stun after the meal is ended. Well, it must have raised your critical strike as well, because you hit the nail on the head as to how this reporter is feeling. I'll let you continue to sleep off all that itis, but before I send it back to the studio, here's an extra word from our sponsors. Hello, Aaron from Another Pod, Do Not Relent here. Our sponsor, Manscaped, is running an exclusive Black Friday Cyber Monday deal. From now until November 29th, you can receive 25% off your entire order at manscaped.com, as well as free shipping on your entire order. Manscaped has your body hair grooming covered from your nose to your toes, and their lotions and scents will keep you looking and smelling good well into the new year. If you're interested in the brand new Lawnmower 4.0 shaving kit with its skin-safe technology and wireless charging base, or any other revolutionary Manscaped product, just head to manscaped.com right now. Thanks, Growlina! Wowzer zowzer, that reporting is the best thing on my Thanksgiving plate. Well, second best. I like the broccoli casserole.
What? What about the stuffing?
I like the green bean casserole.
Oh, wow. I like the green bean casserole, too.
I like the time warp.
Oh, man, there's a big, nasty time warp sitting there. Well, at least it's better than turkey.
No.
Agree.
No, disagree. Turkey's better than time warps. This is a turkey warp. Turkey warp. For this week's turkey warp, I need these two to give me as many answers to the question I will be asking them. They have 60 seconds on the clock, I think. Is that how long it is? Is it a minute?
40.
40 seconds are on the clock. The look that I'm getting from Immune is horrible right now.
I wasn't even looking at you.
It'd be one thing if you forgot. It's another thing that this is episode 153.
Each day I don't play a mage, I forget how long time warp lasts, okay?
I see him actually activating his timer on his phone, so this is a first.
What do you mean, so fuck you? Anyway, this is why you're gonna lose this. I need you.
I lose all of them anyways, bitch.
You might win this one. I need you two to name for me as many soul shapes or critter shapes as you can. On your mark, get set, go.
Turtle,
Squirrel,
raptor,
dragon,
cricket, turkey,
shrieker,
raptor,
ram,
dragon,
snake,
yeah, snake. There's spider. There's
horn.
rat, there's yak,
runner, rider.
There's scorpion.
Otter.
There's
Dog,
ox,
puppy,
there's-
squirrel, cat.
yeah. There's a cat. There's I'll say a tiger. There's a bat, maybe. There's a worm. Oh no, is that what
Bug,
they're
spider.
called? I think I'm.
Once I named Chufa and his pals, I was like, well, those are all the critter shapes I know.
Okay, so that was very difficult. I was doing a very rough hand-to-hand estimate. I do believe Immune won by 1, but this is definitely going to be how one for the replay tapes. Aaron came with a burst of energy when he started naming random animals, and I was like, well, I guess that one technically, yeah, that one is in there. A dog, I did not properly sort because there's not really a dog. There's a hyena, but that's not really a dog. Yeah.
I also don't really know the critter shapes.
I didn't know because Chufa has a dog friend, so I was like, maybe you can be him.
So I'm all last ruling before the actual 7-6 Immune to Growl. Very tight race there. I loved Aaron's bug.
Well, I was like, what I was going for, I don't know what was Nerubian. I was like, but no, that's a people. They don't consider that an animal, even though they look like that.
They're all freaks.
I don't know. You guys are Ardenveldians. The only thing Randleman ever got was Shrieker, and I was like, hell yeah, brother.
I marked that one down, don't worry.
Yeah, all my alts are Ardenweldians, and on my hunter, I just got a goat form today.
What's your current soul shape?
On my hunter, it is actually the goat now. I love it.
You don't have a critter shape on?
I have not activated the critter shape thing yet, I don't think. Do you need to actually activate it? Talk to someone to activate it?
Yeah, you have souls in your pocket, so you gotta turn in. But, like, if you don't have a soul in your pocket, you wouldn't have to, you know what I mean? Well, Aaron, drink your whatever.
Yeah, I'm finishing the rest of my Shorts Brew Space Rock. It's out of this world. And by that I mean, it's an average IPA. Not their best.
I feel like if there's any kind of alcoholic beverage that is distinctly of this world, it's IPAs.
Get them.
Yes, if there's anything that is grounded and non-impressive, it's an IPA.
Are y'all excited for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, you know it. We're gonna be running a big 5 kilometer and then eating a bunch.
Yeah, hell yeah, brother. Cheers to my rack.
I was gonna say, I've actually started saying more than Cubby Bubba's like, why do you say that? I was like, cheers from rack, brother.
I love that so much.
I mean, like, while we're speaking of this, I did say it during our time warp, but, now not only are us Venthyr getting some fun treats during the holidays, but we are also getting fun treats during this holiday. The Ember Court is getting some Thanksgiving-themed activities, but the Night Fae are also getting a turkey soul shape, baby.
Did you say turkey soul shape during the time warp?
Yeah.
8 to 6. I did not hear that.
My fate is even further sealed.
Yo, I wish this turkey soul shape was like a soul shape, not just a critter shape. Like, it's cool that I can like use it in Orbos and Stormwind, but I want to be like in a battleground as a fucking little turkey running around gobbling some nuts up.
Gobbling some nuts up.
You're not a goblin, you're an idol.
Okay, wait. Okay, so are you guys familiar? This is a real question. This is not just me podcast throwing to podcast people. Are you guys legitimately familiar with the protoform synthesis system? Don't look at my screen, cheater.
No, what is this?
I cannot say that I know this.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if you guys have seen this or not. It was kind of hidden. It was posted like 2 days after we recorded it, so it's like wedged in the middle of like a cavern of information. So much like Mechagon, where we got to like paint our panthers or like build your spider mech, they've expounded upon that system, it seems like. And you can craft a variety of mounts and a variety of battle pets.
Okay, so I guess expound a little bit more upon this.
I just want you to, how many mounts were you able to make in Mechagon?
Well, I mean, like, technically,
3, 4?
technically, if you count all the different colored panthers, there are, like, 8 of them, I think, but, like, I just didn't care about them. I was like, that is a panther. I don't care.
How many mounts do you think you're able to make in the Shadowlands?
10.
By the Shadowlands, you mean Zereth Mortis in this patch? That's coming up?
I mean, in this protoform synthesis system that we currently have in 9.2 launching with Zereth Mortis.
Well, I assume if it's like the just different colored versions of them, maybe like 15 of them?
The answer is 25. And it's not.
Oh,
and it's
my.
not with color variations, by the way.
Oh, so it's like actually just different forms of the mounts? Like, what?
Now you can turn your head and look at my screen. All these purple words are mounts. We have the Adorned Vombata, which I don't know what that is. We have a Gastropod, that's a snail. We have a Vespoid, that's not a snail. We have a Buzz, is that a fly or a bee? Crystal Sniffer. Okay, so there are some, there's 2 Vombatas.
That was me when I was playing Star Fox Adventures, you catch my drift.
There's a lot of, so it's not 25. There are a couple of skips with recolors, but ultimately it's like 19, 18. It's a lot of different mounts, and that even gets to the battle pets, which I know you guys don't care about battle pets because like who really does? But there's battle pets too to craft. Like, this is dope.
Please tell me what Serenade is.
Oh, you want to know what the Serenade? Hang on. Oh, it's just called Serenade. All right, Serenity. It's a snail. It's a holy snail.
Serenity.
Serenity.
She can't fucking see. It's hard for her to move as a mount. We gotta fix her eye stalks.
We legitimately sorry everybody. You know, in the Dragon Ball intro, when Bulma is riding that like death ostrich in the forest,
Yes,
that's basically a mount. In the Shadowlands, the Desert Wing Hunter. That's a brand new model. That's dope as fuck. It's like a scary mix of an ostrich and a vulture.
This has been a very Dragon Ball episode.
It's very much on the brain.
it will be worked into the title and the theming. Rest assured.
There's a fuck ton of pets. There's like proto rabbit, where it's just like a robot rabbit with like one eye. A lot of spider mounts. Like, this is great. My absolute favorite here is a pet called Proto Tickles. All the Tickles fans remember Tickles.
Oh.
You remember Tickles? Were you ever?
I do not remember Tickles, but the phrase Proto Tickles is just it's very threatening aura to it.
Think jumping on jellyfish in everyone's favorite zone.
I do remember it now. So is Prototickles a jellyfish?
Prototickles is a jellyfish from not Mechagon, from Najatar, and from that fucking world quest that everybody hated to do.
Interesting that while we were tracking down all of creation, we happened to find that specific guy's Play-Doh mold.
Well, you know, Azara was like, my favorite pet Tickles. He must be made.
I love Tickles. It's such a shame I keep losing him in bubbles. But at least these fools keep freeing him by jumping on the jumpy jellyfishes.
I am so excited for 9.2. Like, I really feel like the story feels like it's really shaping up to be something that either I'm not going to predict, or if I do predict, I don't want that to be right. That's terrifying.
Basically, whatever is going to happen in 9.2 and beyond seems to be shaping up to be very, very monumental, to the point where it could shape the entirety of the world as we know it, which is a little bit scary, but like, I'm excited.
Yeah, I just want a world after this. A lot of this raid business makes me think that we're going to lose our planet, at least like temporarily. It's going to be a real pants doo-dooing moment where between intermission 1 or intermission 2 and the end of the boss fight, like, oh, Azeroth doesn't exist anymore. He done blew it up.
Yeah, like, joke's on us. Like, that 1 week intermission is like, sorry guys, you cannot play. You do not have a world to log into.
Imagine. I'd hate that. I'm crying just thinking about it.
You get Stevie Denuser pulls up an extra little like thing at the login screen. Can't do it. You saw him blow it up. It's going to take some time to fix this one. Me and the team got to stitch everything back together with Play-Doh. Anyway, here's just a picture of Sylvanus. Enjoy that for a week.
I guess you could log into maybe a WoW Classic.
We didn't blow it up in that one yet.
Sorry, I just clicked over to Wildhead and I saw the image of the empty executive chair with the CEO placard in front. Why? Okay, this is... I know we're at the end of the episode and we need to move on, but they're adding click keybinds and mouse over targeting into the WoW UI. Now, that's nuts. I mean, isn't that all you fucking use as a healer?
I mean, kinda. Like, my mouse over things are just, like, over voodoo. So, like, not really. I mean, so, like, my thing is, like, I guess I don't understand what a mouse over macro is. Like, my clicking on voodoo is different than my clicking as if I just clicked in-game.
Let me get this straight. You use mouse over macros, correct?
Define a mouse over macro, I don't know.
This feels like we're doing a skit where, like, you're trying to evade my court questioning, and I'm just trying to get a legitimate answer out of you. Define a mouse over macro, please.
I'm literally talking to the empty CEO chair right now. But, like, no, I legitimately don't know, like, what you mean. Like, supposedly I'm supposed to use mouse over macros, but I don't exactly know what that means. Like, what is a mouse over macro? I'm legitimately asking.
To my knowledge, it's a thing where it will cast that spell, a set spell, on a person. You don't actually have to click on, like, their portrait. You hover over their thing with your mouse. So it's quicker.
Yeah. Then to answer your question, I don't think I use any mouse over macros, period.
Wow, watching you play as healer, then I'm very confused at what you're even doing now, because I really don't understand it. If you're not using those, what are you doing, mousing your mouse over your little frames?
So no, that's the part that is confusing me too, because all my keybinds are built into Voodoo, my healer add-on. So technically, I'm over the raid frames, and while I'm over just the raid frame for different people, like when I do like any combination of like left click, right click, any of my like mouse buttons plus Control Alt or Shift and like or any of my number keys, it means different things. But like those things do not carry over if I'm anywhere beside my voodoo frames.
I feel like Bomo just explained to me how capsules work, and I don't understand. If you at home understand this, send us an email. But everyone should be excited that now there's more options for click keybinds and mouse over targeting in the game. And maybe, Immune, you're already using those, and I don't understand if you're not. What is your world like? That's how you play this game? With that what you just said to me?
Hey,
Yes.
you know what? Immune and he clicks to use spells. I use arrow keys. It's the same, right?
Listen, I need to make it
Everyone's
very
different.
clear here, Aaron. I don't click my spells. Well, I click some of them.
You click on the frames. I mean, like epic level healing, I guess you're never clicking. You're just waggling your mouse, and that is doing set spells.
I don't understand.
It is well beyond
Your
me.
guys' spellbook isn't always open, and you don't click through your pages to press your buttons?
I actually type in the name of the spell. I do /cast, and then I type in the name of the spell every time.
100% real talk, I'm playing on my smart fridge.
I'm playing on my 3DS. My mom took away my smart fridge.
Okay, so there is, like, legitimately, like, 2 weeks ago, I did have to open my spellbook to cast an ability, and I left it open, and I kept clicking on that one button because I was like, I don't have time to drag it down. My rotation's too long. I'm just going to keep pressing it in the spellbook icon.
I will also not lie. There was a period of time when I think I was on my druid where I didn't have my like mass res on my toolbar, so I had to open my spellbook to go there to do that as well. So
What are you gonna do? With that, it's time for our top two bottom boot medium mooch of the week. Aaron, what's your TTBBMM?
My week features a medium moot.
medium.
I have started. I will say I'm following Immunization's lead, and I have started leveling up all the covenants on Growlina the main.
Ooh, who'd you start on?
And it is all right. I can say I started with Maldraxxus, and that was a mistake. Not only does it have what I believe is the worst covenant ability for a fire mage, but also the set doesn't look that good. But it can only go up, and I am getting renown at a pretty quick rate, so hopefully it only take me a week and some change to fix this, and then I can start doing one of the better ones.
I think you started with the first one. Like, your expectations are low, right?
Yeah, I was like, it would be one thing if I did all these cool ones, and it's like, okay, time to drag my ass through Maldraxxus, but I'm just barely making it through this one, and then maybe I'll do the Kyrian, which that one is definitely the simplest covenant ability, because it's just a lightning bolt. I can treat myself. I don't have to math out my thing like I do with Big Ghost Man.
Zap!
But Slidewhistle, what is your TTBBMM?
I had a big old top two.
Woo!
After downing the first three bosses of Mythic Sanctum of Domination, I had a piece drop for me that basically meant that the first three bosses of Mythic have nothing for me anymore. I've scooped up all of their gear.
Look at you go.
What was said
I
piece?
think it was a pair of boots or it was a wrist. I got two back to back that I was like, so it's just like two.
What was that noise? I was like, did he say words or just go?
Two 52 pieces in one night. That's like those are never gonna move for the rest of this patch until whenever 9.2 drops. And we got so close to downing the fourth boss. I feel like I can't officially say we're Mythic Raiders until we kill the fourth boss. The first three are super easy. Anybody can kill those. The fourth one, holy fucking shit. Ner'zhula's so fucking hard. I can't wait to beat him. He's my new rival.
Oh my god, Goku, fuck off. But, like, I also felt like this is a little bit of a cursed raid week for us with Dogs with Jobs because a bunch of people had, like, computer issues and a bunch of people couldn't make it on our second raid night, so it didn't happen.
It also didn't help that anytime you guys would get a boss low, I'd throw a sensu bean at him and say, you need to train more.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, Aaron's like...
don't attack him. I want him to transform.
Yeah, Aaron's like, Slidewhistle and Immunization. You know, they need a rival. And their rival's going to be the remnant of Ner'zhul.
I hate that man so fucking much. Can't wait till he dies. What about you, Immune?
Just get big muscles.
What's your top?
You can defeat him if you have big muscles.
Well, my top toot, I would say, is that... Okay, this is a little dumb, but a lot of people know that I have been trying very hard. I've been running Theater of Pain every week on 15 plus just to see if I can get the crit mastery ring from it. And I will say there are 2 crit mastery rings from there. Also, I think there's like 5 rings overall that come from Theater of Pain, but like there's specifically 2 crit mastery ones that are my rating set Holy Priest best in slot. And I have had one of them at 252 that I got pretty early on from my vault, and I have been only getting like that one from running the dungeon. And there's another one that I've just had in my raid set at 226 for, I don't know, 220, like the 226 version. I've had it since, what, 9.1? Or 9, maybe even earlier than that.
I think earlier.
Basically, like, I've been waiting for this ring upgrade for a long time. Anyways.
I've been waiting for a ring like this.
Basically. So today I woke up, I checked my vault. That 252 ring, the one from Theater of Pain that I was looking for, was there. So the search is over. Now I have 252 rings, the proper stats for my rating set. Like, I am set now until whenever 9.2 comes out. I'm very happy about this. Like, this is like a nothing burger for a lot of people, but like, it's a big deal for me because I've been actively trying to upgrade this fucking ring from 226 to literally anything. Like, you could have given me like a 246 one or like even a 231, and then I could have upgraded it slowly with Valor, but no, like, it never dropped on anyone that I ran with. And this is a ring that could drop like for literally anyone because it's like a ring.
You had to watch so many rings go by and you wanted to type need and you weren't able to.
No, and then like there were a few times where people are like, Immune, is this your crit mastery ring? And I'm like, no, that's the other crit mastery ring that drops from Theater of Pain.
So now when they go Immune, you can just be like, delete it. Get rid of it.
Destroy it.
Sell it for 20 gold.
Crush the ring dallion. With that, we're out of here. If you guys have any comments, questions, complaints, send it on over to donotrelenttpod@gmail.com or tweet at us on Twitter at donotrelenttpod. Have a good Thanksgiving. Don't get too drunk. Actually, you probably would have already gotten too drunk because this is the day after Thanksgiving. So enjoy your leftovers. What about you guys? Where can they find you on the turkey net?
Well, on the turkey net, you can find me or Tofurkization on Twitter at New Era Alex. You can follow our podcast Instagram account on the gram at Do Not Relent.
You can find me on Gobbler. That's GOBBLR, because I'm hip. At The Big Cheesy. That's also my Twitter handle. You can read our literary musings at donotrelent.livejournal.com. And you can watch me stream at twitch.tv/AaronDNR. I just recently finished the very first game I ever played on there, Dragon Quest V. It was a hoot and one half.
What's next?
Probably...
The Conduit 2.
You know, it's definitely going to be the Conduit 2. See you soon, George and Abe. Wink.
And with that, we're out of here. See you guys next week. And remember...
Another down! Do not relent!
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.
I've been trying to sneeze for a minute here.
I was stalling for him to sneeze before, and then it just wouldn't come out. Wait, come on. Tickle your nose. Do I need to buy a big feather duster like Bulma does for
do I need to take an enormous ostrich feather and gently jiggle it next to your nose?
Achoo! I'm bad immunization now.